Hi, my name is Tim Sojka, and I have the honor of working with the developer Steadfast. Steadfast is now on its fourth office project. We have projects coming in Cypress. We have a project in Fulshire. We have another project in Katy. But one of our original purchasers was Marcelo Perez. He was an early believer in the project. And we're going to talk about why you chose to build an office condo today. He's also one of the most successful State Farm agents in the city. If you need to talk to him about insurance, call him at
281-717-4777.
So you've been a pleasure to work with from the beginning, and I think you were the first buyer in this project.
I believe so, yes.
What attracted you to Steadfast? Was it the design? Was it the location? Like, what brought you here?
Well, the first thing that I was looking for was honestly the location. My office was on the other side of I-10 on Mason Road. But then when I started finding certain locations, the layout that I saw just kind of blew me away. One of the big selling points for me when I saw the layout was the size of the office, where it was going to be located. It was also not too far away from where I currently was. And then once I made the phone call, I spoke to you. What I thought this area was going to be was supported by some of the things that you mentioned to me, and this intersection here at Friends and North Mason was going to look like. So it was very exciting to be at the beginning of it. It was my first commercial real estate kind of deal, so there was those nerves that came along with it. But through speaking with you and Steadfast, I kind of felt really educated and prepared on making that hugely. Probably the biggest transaction I had done up to that point from a business owner standpoint. But yeah, the location was great. The people I got to work with was great. And I was just made to feel like it was going to be a really smart move, not just from my business, but just from a business owner standpoint as well.
I think one of the best things you've done is you own a State Farm franchise, a State Farm office, and that office rents from Marcelo.
Yes.
So it's a great way to build income. You transition from someone who was paying rent
Yes.
to someone who's paying yourself rent. You're actually paying off your own mortgage, and you actually ended up buying a second unit that someone else is paying off for you.
100%. And the cost of the two units was less than what I was paying in rent when I was a tenant. Obviously, I have to have a physical office, so it's not like an extra expense. And it's also just a much more professional setting as well. In the insurance world is a very competitive world. The difference between myself and even another State Farm agent on paper, it's actually nothing. It boils down to myself, my staff, and how people feel when they walk into it. So having this kind of more of a professional setting on top of all the savings and the business economics that made sense, it just makes my office kind of stand out a little bit.
There's something you said that I think is really powerful. You actually own a property and your payments are less than when you were renting.
100%. So I was paying probably over $4,600 in rent for 5 years when I leased my office on South Mason Road, and including everything, taxes, insurance, the association fees, everything, I probably pay about $600 less a month for two units, even if I was paying all of it out of pocket, not including the income from my tenants.
So you own it, and by renting out half, you're probably paying about half of what you were paying before.
Yes.
And you own. That's fantastic. So when I saw Steadfast, what I fell in love with those guys is, one, they're just, Robert and Mark are so approachable, they're so easy to work with. But I actually fell in love with the architecture. I thought they were so far advanced from other people doing this project. The 14-foot ceilings, the big open spaces, and they gave you something their competitors don't, the chance to customize your office a little bit. How important was that for you?
Was huge. For my office, obviously with State Farm and insurance, I have sales team members, I have service team members. My sales team members, I like to have them kind of what I like to call bullpen. So when I first saw the sketch of the office, it had 3 individual offices on one side. But for my office and for the way I structure my office, I would have preferred that to be just one big office and have all my sales team members have their individual desks. I remember being a little kid watching the movie Boiler Room, and the image of all of them in there together and being able to, first we'll do legal things, but be able to hear each other, and it's just a camaraderie that it builds. So they worked awesome with me in regards to making that one massive office. They actually are the ones that gave me the idea, you guys might see it later, putting the farm doors, so there wasn't any doors going in and out. They built the window in the middle. So it was awesome because it was kind of, you buy a home pre-construction, you can kind of pick out every piece. As much as my naive preconception notion of office condos was that it was very cookie cutter, it allowed me to really make the interior of the office kind of exactly what I wanted. And not just from an aesthetic standpoint, but from a functionality standpoint on how I like my office to run.
So buying commercial property is not easy, but did you feel like there was someone there for you the whole time through the process to take care of you?
100%, and mainly you were the person that I contacted. I came from a little bit of a financial background, obviously, but it's a whole different animal when you're talking about commercial real estate, which naturally adds some kind of apprehension and nervousness. But you were there to answer every question. I remember there were plenty of times you worked directly with the bank representative, so I wasn't having to go kind of back and forth. I was made to understand everything when it came down to the closing, which for me was the biggest part in terms of the title. The closing process was explained very, very well. The scheduling of it was super flexible. So I was made to feel very comfortable to where I came in thinking that was going to be the scarier part of everything. And it actually was the easiest, one of the easiest components, mainly because of you and working with the gentleman at Steadfast.
Yeah, Robert and Mark, those guys are amazing. So you've done this now. You own a commercial piece of property. But the thing I like about commercial more than residential is it's all about the math. Have you enjoyed owning commercial property? And I think you were going down the path of potentially purchasing some other businesses.
Yes.
So do you own daycares too? I know you.
Yeah, so my wife and I, probably about 3 years ago, we purchased a preschool that we currently own and operate. My wife is the director there now. It's a Spanish immersion preschool. And this experience actually gave us a lot of confidence, not just the confidence, but also kind of the vision of the benefits of commercial investments or commercial business in general. As a State Farm agent, I always viewed being a business owner as just running my business. I had never looked at all the components of the real estate aspect of it and things of that nature. But you start to see how beneficial those kind of things are. Unfortunately, I'm in an industry that even when my back goes out and my knees hurt, I can probably still do what I do. But eventually, you don't want to be able to hang it up and go to Naples, Florida, and eat coconut shrimp at Klein Bahamas. And some of the things that through this process that opened my eyes to are things that I believe are going to enable me to be successful in other business ventures, just like it was with our preschool.
So this was almost your launching pad into commercial real estate. Now your commercial real estate world is really expanding.
100%.
So the coolest thing about owning commercial real estate and real estate in general is one thing you said, which is really key. I'm 59 and I'm in decent shape for an old guy, but one day I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. But the building that I own and this building that you own will pay for that trip to Tommy Bahama, coconut shrimp, and it'll pay for the trip to Florida, all of those things. I think the best thing about owning commercial real estate is even if when you start your business can still lease from you personally, which is a separate business.
100%. And I think, and not to get overly personal, but the biggest thing is, I have 2 daughters now. And just the idea that, whether it be through work, whether it be through the commercial real estate, and especially the experience that was kind of like the Launchpad, like you said, there's the opportunity to leave them something as well. Hopefully the goal is to where I can kind of afford that coconut shrimp on my own and they can have something they can build their future off of. And it gave me enough experience to where I can firsthand give them something, another nugget that they can get when they're old enough. Maybe they could just start a little bit more ahead of the curve than maybe I started, right? And as a parent, that's one of the main things you wish for.
So my big pitch for, and I don't think I've ever done this on camera before, but my big pitch with commercial real estate is really simple. You will be out of business, but this building that you're buying, again, will pay for your grandkids way through college. It could pay for your great grandkids way to go to Harvard. It can be the reason that you're paying for bar mitzvahs and neither of us are Jewish 10 years from now or 20 years from now. It can be the future of your family. And it can be something that someone looks back at a picture of you and your wife and say, they're the one that launched our family and took us forward. Don't you wish someone had done that?
100%. And I'm super, super grateful in regards to what the experience was. And you hit it on the head. As a State Farm agent, you're just looking for somewhere that fits your desk and your people. You can make phone calls. But you get into and you realize all the ripples that this has. And then, like I said, being a family man, the biggest legacy that I'm going to have is my 2 girls. And one day I can hopefully sit down and say, hey, like, this is what we got for you. And this is how we're going to try to make your life not easier, but at least give you more tools or your tool belt to take it further than we were able to take it as your mom and dad.
I think the neatest thing about working with Steadfast is they're consistent. They do a good job. They're the most on-time developer I work with. But they also put their properties near restaurants. You can walk to Starbucks. Joy Love Burger, which is one of my favorite burgers, is just up the street. Papa Euros is right there. They tend to put their projects right behind HEBs because of momentum climbing. And I think that's a big part of the success is what's around you too.
100%. From my early conversations with them, one thing that I really liked about them is they spoke to you as if they understood what you were going through as a business owner. They understand the value of location. They understand the value of anchors and what's across the street. And like I mentioned to you, I remember the first couple of conversations we had, a lot of the things that I was being told is what was coming on this corner. So they understand what the business owner needs, even though I was just looking for an office, if I'm being completely frank with you. But they opened my eyes to some of the other things that, being so early on in my career, I wasn't even kind of really looking for. But they do a really good job of helping the business owner be a better business owner. And they view, in my opinion, they view their locations and where they're going to develop through the eyes of a business owner wanting to be successful, not just a developer wanting to build new office condos.
Your advice to someone if they're thinking about buying from Steadfast is absolutely buy.
100%.
And the advantage you have, which is interesting over anyone else, you bought as an owner first. I'm going to work out of this building. And then you bought as an investor.
Yes, sir.
And both have been successful for you.
100%. So I actually own the unit right next to mine. That was also another process where I had a lot of questions, didn't really know how that component of it worked. And yourself and Steadfast was there through the entire process to help me through it. It's just another thing that, again, it just broadened my eyes and my horizons to other methods of being a business owner outside of just being a State Farm agent.
If you want a way to launch your commercial real estate career, if you want a way to fund your grandkids' trip to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, why don't you get started and talk to us about one of our projects right now? You can reach me at 713-822-2152. And if you need insurance, remember you can call Marcelo at
281-717-4777.